If you have ever thought that you needed a question answered, comment brought to the screen, and us to talk about it, this is the night to do it, folks. Nebraska Huskers live right here at the Voice of College Football for the next hour, if we've got enough to talk about. But that's up to you, folks. Leave your comments and questions there in the live chat. We got Greg Peterson online now for 55 times. And you can catch Greg's work, of course, on Husker Online, and then specifically right here on YouTube, Husker Online video. Hey, Greg.
Hey, Mark. How's it going?
I'm doing just fine. How's it going for you?
Doing good.
Yeah? 60 degrees out there.
Yeah, just another typical Tuesday here in Nebraska during the winter.
No. It was like in the high 30s here today, so it wasn't awful, but not 60.
Yeah, 60 2 days in a row.
Okay. All right. Is that going to last for a while?
Hey, it's all week in the 50s and 60s, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey,
we're starting February, to be the tropical paradise of
man. For February, take that and run with it. Alan, good to see you tonight. And Moonbot.
My boys.
We are opening up the show for comments and questions because not a whole lot happening. Greg and I thought we could maybe analyze the walk-on punter for about 58 minutes. We thought we had a good 58 minutes. We've measured his hang time, how the ball hits its zenith and how it turns over. We've analyzed the entire deal. So we figure we can go 58 minutes on punting.
What?
And if you guys don't know I'm joking, then we've got a serious problem. So we think we can go about 8 seconds possibly on this walk-on punter. Let's see here. What's his name?
Never heard of him.
We've got Bill Bush. No, that's the full-time special teams coordinator. Where's adding scholarship punter Brian Buschini?
Yeah. Actually, he is. Believe it or not, he might be.
That's the scholarship punter. Okay.
Yeah.
Man, I'm not finding.
You added 2 specialists, and the kickers and punters, and Tommy Bleakroad and Brian Buschini, who are going to take over the 2 starting kicking jobs. So yeah, a walk-on punter at this point is irrelevant. So
Jacob Hull, that's who he is. Jacob Hull is the walk-on punter for everybody that wants to know every roster spot for the Huskers. So Moonbot, there's a name for you right there. Jacob Hull, he's the walk-on punter.
Moonbot's only worried about one guy, okay?
Well, that's true. It's right there.
Yeah. And the Yanty is going to be right there in the mix in a loaded running back room, which I love. I love the additions that they've added to that running back room. But we can get into that if we break down the whole class here. Or
yeah, we'll do that in just a second. Let's see if we've got any questions coming in. Do you know anything about what Moonbot's talking about here, Greg?
From Kozad on the radio flipping. Oh, yeah, that's a basketball question, basically. Nebraska basketball is not in very good shape right now. 11 straight losses, 12 straight losses in the Big Ten. Fred Hoiberg's right now under fire, and that was a question that was on. Fred Hoiberg was on Nebraska radio, the Nebraska Sports Nightly show last night on his weekly monthly appearance, and took some pretty serious questions from fans, and that's what Moonbot's talking about, and you know what? I mean, Fred Hoiberg, we all thought was going to come in here same time as Scott Frost and turn things around, and hasn't looked very good lately, and I don't know. Maybe we might be looking at something in basketball like we saw in football here with, keeping Coach Hoiberg around, but kind of reshuffling that contract. Just kind of what we saw in football with Scott Frost right now. But Yeah, it's not a pleasant thing right now, dealing with Nebraska basketball when you had a phenomenal top 20 recruiting class come in, and you haven't seen any results right now. But yeah, it was pretty awkward. It really was kind of. If you listened to the show last night, it was a little bit awkward, but I think Coach Hoiberg handled it with class, and didn't get out of hand in any type of way.
Right, folks, we're here every Tuesday night with Greg talking up Husker football, 7 Eastern, 6 Central. I'll be scanning the chat for your comments and questions, of course. In the meantime, hit the like button, share these videos out on social media. Let's bring in a good crowd tonight and in future weeks as we get toward spring football. We're going to start breaking down each position as we head toward the spring. But tonight, we thought we would go through the 2022 signing class now that National Signing Day is complete. It's the 38th ranked class in the country, according to Rivals, number 41, according to 247 Sports, with 18 commitments. All right.
But
So
if we're going to talk about the class as a whole, we got to add the transfers in there, which brings it up to, I think, 29, I think?
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
You ready to run through them top to bottom?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. We got 7 early enrollees, 7 on campus already working out with the team. And they start with cornerback Jayden Gold.
Well, Jayden Gold right there is your bell cow in that high school recruiting class, obviously, and a guy that's going to be expected to come in and compete for a starting job right away as a true freshman. He's got that kind of talent, and he had that kind of interest, coming out of high school. So, he's Rivals has him as a 4-star, and as a big corner at 6'2" and about 200 pounds. You think he's already got an NFL type of a body going, and he's got a skill set that hopefully you think's going to match that. And a kid out of Bergen Catholic, which is a powerhouse high school football program out of New Jersey, and Husker fans know that Nebraska's always done pretty well with recruits out of the state of New Jersey. So, Jayden Gold right there, he's a guy that obviously is expected to be one of those guys to come in and replace like a Cam Taylor-Britt type of guy, if not this year, but, get some playing time this year and maybe become that starter next season. We'll see. Nebraska did take 7 players in the secondary. So, yeah, they're definitely reloading right there. And he's the bell cow right now.
Gold is rated as the 31st rated cornerback in the country, according to Rivals, number 30 in the composite out of New Jersey. Then we go to running back Anthony Grant and his 4-star ranking.
Yeah, Anthony Grant, if you haven't watched his film, you should go watch that film. I mean, he's coming out of New Mexico Military Institute, but he was a 4-star kid coming out of Buford, Georgia. And, Nebraska's had a lot of guys coming out of Buford signing with the Huskers lately. And go look at his film. Look at his high school film and look at his film from New Mexico Military in the JUCO ranks. And this guy, he's a downhill runner. He's got the mold of that NFL style, 5'11", 210-pound type guy. He's a bruiser, and he can run. He can get in the open field and run. I really love. Watching film on this kid, I'm falling in love with him, and he. Heck, I don't care what Nebraska lost in the transfer portal. This is a kid right there that he's going to come in. Like I said, he's a 4-star ranked kid, coming out of high school and a JUCO, and he can come in and step in and play right away here at Nebraska.
Top-rated JUCO running back in the nation.
Yeah,
Top
I
10.
didn't even mention that. Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. So, again, Fort Military Institute in New Mexico, 5'11", 210. All right, next up, we've got Ernest Houseman, a linebacker out of Columbus, Nebraska.
Yeah, and we've talked about Ernest several times here. An in-state recruit, a kid that's got a really interesting story about how he got to America and everything, and learned how to play football here. And he's going to come in and he's going to start out at inside linebacker, and he's got that type of body that he can build on. The sky's the limit for Ernest. I love his style that he plays. He played tight end as well at Columbus High School, and was a big time playmaker on the offensive side of the ball as well for the Discoverers there at Columbus. But he's got a real good football instinct, and nice as heck of a dude. I mean, he's like that gentle giant that you'll meet and shake his hand, and you'll just be wowed by his nature. But I think he's got a really good future here at Nebraska. He'll probably redshirt, I'm thinking, this year. But once he gets a chance to play, he's going to be a difference maker.
So Houseman is the 45th rated linebacker in the country, according to Rivals, 6'3", 205, 5th rated player in the state. Next up, we got Victor Jones Jr. out of Florida at wide receiver.
Yeah, and I think Victor Jones is an underrated recruit. Coming out of Florida, he's had strong ties with Coach Frost for many years, going back to Coach Frost's Central Florida days. And he's got a big body, 6'2", 6'3". He can run. And he's a playmaker. And I think, when you ask about dark horses in this class, I think Victor Jones Jr. has a big time chance to step in right away, at least on special teams, and compete for some playing time there in the rotation at receiver this year. Sorry, I'm getting the hiccups here.
Got Greg Peterson here. Oh, you still going, Greg?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, we're good. We're good. No, I love Victor Jones. Big sleeper.
Got Greg Peterson every week. Tuesday night, 7 Eastern, 6 Central, Huskers Live. So we appreciate everybody being here, but also would love if you went out and grabbed some more Nebraska fans. Bring them on in here. Again, 6 Central every Tuesday night with Greg and myself for 55 consecutive weeks, folks. Now, let's take a little break from the recruiting rundown and reviewing all the signees for 2022. Got a couple questions coming in. Ben Jackson looking for Thomas Fidone and what he could possibly contribute this season, his ceiling.
Yeah, we're all rooting for Thomas Fidone. Obviously, he was a big-time recruit last year, coming out of Council Bluffs, Iowa, there right across the river from Omaha. And, he got banged up there in fall camp, and missed the season. But, you got Travis Volkolek coming back, and I think Thomas Fidone is going to be that number 2 tight end that Nebraska is going to be going to. And, hopefully he can get through spring ball here and then fall camp after that unscathed without injury, and be able to show off what he could do, what he proved he was. He was one of the top recruits in the country last year. Nebraska beat out a lot of Power 5 schools to get Thomas Fidone on campus here. And, great family. And he is, he's been a Husker fan his whole life. And I know last year was tough for him having to sit out and watch from the sideline, but he's ready. He's ready to go. His rehab's complete. He could have played there at the end of the season, but they didn't want to burn his red shirt. And I'm looking for big things from Thomas Fidone here, and kind of show up to be that kind of recruit that he was coming out of high school, and be one of those guys that's only going to play for a couple of years and then jump into the NFL draft.
Macy, envy me. Good to see you tonight. Appreciate you being here. Running back seems crowded. Are you concerned we lose some?
At this point, I'm not concerned about losing anybody. With the 3 running backs that they have added, I'm really liking what the running back room looks like right now. I mean, we've talked about A.J. Allen. We've talked about Anthony Grant. We haven't talked about Emmett Johnson yet. But these are three high-quality guys. I mean, watch their film, and you'll see that these guys fit the mold. And I don't think Gabe Urban, I don't think Ramir Johnson are going anywhere. I really don't think Jaquez Yant's going anywhere. You throw Marquise Step into that mix as well. You have a loaded room, and I think that it's competitive as all get out. And once spring starts here in a couple of weeks, I think you're going to weed out a little bit of that, and then you might see somebody leave. But let's see how this competition shakes out. And I think just like it was last year, it's a weekly competition. I mean, even in season, it's a week by week competition. Whoever's toting the rock the best in practice is going to get the carries. So I love what they have right now, and I'm not concerned if there's some guys that think that it's too much for them to compete with the other talent that's in the room. So no, not concerned at all.
Folks, we get the super chat available to you. Also, you can contribute here at the Voice of College Football by going to Venmo, PayPal, or Cash App. Just search Mark Rogers TV, Venmo, PayPal, or Cash App. Or again, you can contribute right here on the super chat. All right. Next up, a really good get on the National Signing Day out of Ellenwood, Georgia, would be Janarian Bonner, the wide receiver, at 6'3", 197.
Yeah, that was a huge flip. I mean, getting him. I mean, he'd been committed to Georgia Tech. I mean, he's a Rivals 250, high 4-star guy. Did not sign with Georgia Tech there on signing day, and that was one of the big gets last week on Wednesday when he decided to commit along with A.J. Allen. And those were the 2 targets that Nebraska had last week on signing day, and they nailed both of them, and you couldn't ask for more. And he's going to come in another. I mean, wide receiver. They took 5 wide receivers in this class, and I think all 5 of them are going to come in and compete right away. And this is a kid that's got that big body, and another guy. You watch his film, and it's like, holy cow. He was hurt his junior year, but bounced back his senior year, and was a state champion. In the highest class in Georgia, and had a heck of a game in that state title game, and helped his team win. And this is a kid that's a little bit more mature than his age is, and I can't wait to see him on the practice field. Absolutely.
We'll stay at wide receiver. Go to Orlando and Victor Jones.
Yeah, we did talked about Victor Jones, and
Yeah. I'm getting these guys out of order. I'm using too many sites. I should be using one list. I'm using like 3 different sites, trying to get as much info as I possibly can, and it's screwing me up here. Shouldn't have done that.
No, Victor, another guy there. I love him. He's been committed for a long time too. So
let's go to safety Javier Morton at 6'2", 197 out of Kansas.
Yeah, he's a Hutchinson junior college kid, and I really like him too. He's a tough-nosed dude. He's a ball hawk. Another guy that Nebraska's adding in there in that secondary to reload. because obviously Husker fans know that they lost a lot of experience and a lot of good football players that were in that secondary for a long time here. And I expect for him to come in and compete right away as well. An early signee, he's here on campus already, and he's ready to go for spring ball.
All right. Next up, of course, the guy that you scouted who was injured. Not that you didn't scout a ton of these guys, but in regards to, I remember the trip down to San Antonio for Richard Torres, quarterback out of San Antonio at 6'5", 210.
Yeah, he's more 6'6". I mean, he's a legit 6'6". He's like we've talked about before. He's the tallest quarterback that Nebraska's ever signed, and he's got a cannon. He can really throw the ball, and unfortunately, that game that I was down in San Antonio to see him in, he got hurt and was done for the year after that. But his rehab's been going well, and last Wednesday I was chomping at the bit to ask Coach Frost about how his rehab was going, and then they cut off the press conference before I could ask that question. But he is here on campus. He's another early enrollee, which I think we had 14 of them this year, and all signs point to him being out there spring ball, as far as I know. And he's a kid that obviously you don't think that he's not going to come in and help you right away. He's going to redshirt and be one of those quarterbacks there in waiting. Be some competition there in that quarterback room and learn under new offensive coordinator Mark Whipple. Sorry.
Safety Deshaun Singletons out of Kansas, a top-rated community college player, top 5 at his position, 6'3", 200.
Yeah, another big kid, another guy out there with a lot of abilities and has played a lot of football, and another guy that's going to come in here and obviously, just like some of these other secondary guys that we've talked about, it's a wide open competition right now. So, these guys are all coming in here thinking that they're going to earn a starting position, and I wouldn't doubt to see him being out there as a starter when it's all said and done.
Down south for another interesting wide receiver prospect in DeColdrest Crawford, Shreveport, Louisiana, 6'1", 178.
Yeah, that was a big one that Mickey Joseph landed shortly after he got here, a kid that he'd been in on for a long time when he was recruiting for LSU. And another good-looking wide receiver. Rivals has him ranked a 3-star. I think he might be a little bit more talented than that. But, I can't wait to see what he can do here and compete. A kid that also has the ability to be on the field as a freshman as well. So, like we said, Nebraska's got added 5 receivers in this recruiting cycle, and he's rated right up there, just almost as high as the rest of them. Even with the likes of Trey Palmer, who was a 5-star coming out of high school, kid that transferred from LSU. So big get for Mickey Joseph. Mickey Joseph showing off his recruiting prowess, and it's only the beginning for what Mickey Joseph's going to do here for this football team on the recruiting road as we move forward into the 2023 cycle and the 2024 cycle.
Our guy Brad Richards is checking in tonight. Good to see you. Did you guys catch Adrian Martinez's first press conference for K-State? Man, that guy continues to be a class act. As much as I despise K-State the way I do wish a lot of success for him and Will Honus.
Yeah, I didn't see it, but I can imagine how it went. And, Brad hits it right on the head. Adrian Martinez might be the most classy guy on the planet in my book. I mean, he came in here as a freshman, and he was maturity level was out of about a 35, 40-year-old, really, the way it come off to me. So, Yeah, I'm sure he owned that press conference, and I wouldn't expect anything less from AD or AM. Sorry.
Another running back coming in to the fold. You mentioned him. We've talked about him in recent weeks because he just committed and signed recently. Would be AJ Allen, the running back out of Louisiana.
Yeah, and he was a TCU commit for a long time. Running backs coach Brian Applewhite had locked him into TCU until he took the Nebraska job, and that was the other guy that on signing day that Nebraska had flipped. So it's pretty cool when you can see Nebraska flip two guys on signing day. That doesn't happen a lot in recent memory. I know it's happened before, but no, AJ Allen's he's got some great looking film. Just really love the way this guy runs. Another, good big size back. A guy that can run inside and run out. He can catch the ball. Has some moves that are just crazy. Just little stutter step moves. Reminds me a lot of Barry Sanders, but a bigger version of Barry Sanders with the kind of things that he does in the open field, and even in traffic, he makes all kinds of crazy moves and gets out of stuff. So yeah, I love this kid's upside. I can't wait to see what he does. When he puts on the helmet here in Lincoln.
All right. We are running down the 2022 class for Nebraska, 38th in the country, according to Rivals, number 41. According to the composite, Jaleel Martin is an athlete. He's in that category, which usually means DB and wide receiver. Do we have any idea which way he's going to lean out of Chicago?
Yeah, he'll start out at safety, maybe a little corner. He's a guy that Travis Fisher locked in on early and recruited him pretty hard, and secured his services. And he's got a lot of upside. But I look for him to play safety down the road and be one of those guys that they can fill in there in the absence of Markel Dismuke and Deontay Williams. So, yeah, another guy that's going to come in and compete right away. Yeah, he's an early enrollee as well. He's already here on campus.
We hear out of somebody in the chat almost every week that Nebraska needs an edge rusher. Jake Applegate, edge rusher, 6'4", 210, out of Lincoln Southeast.
No, Jake's not really a pass rusher. He's more of a sideline to sideline guy. He's going to start out outside linebacker, and he's a taller drink of water that you usually see there from the linebacker position. Very great athlete. I mean, great hands. He played a lot of wide receiver in his high school career and was very effective there, and really was the anchor there on that Southeast defense. Made plays in the run game and the pass game. But no, he's more of a field general type of a linebacker, a guy that's going to read the offense and be there, Johnny on the spot. He's a ball hawk and always around the ball. And but no, he's not done much pass rushing in his high school career, and I don't see him being that type of a guy that is going to be unleashed as a pass rushing specialist type of a guy.
When you look at this Nebraska defense last season, did they really have a bad game? Ohio State only scored 23 points in that game.
Maybe, I mean, the Illinois game, the first game of the year, the Illinois game might have been the worst that defense played all year. And they didn't play bad in that game either.
Ohio State might have had the best offense in the country, and Nebraska played them really well. Yeah. Michigan State couldn't do anything the entire second half of that game. That game went to overtime at 13 all, and Michigan made some plays, but that might have been maybe the most plays they gave up. They just week to week, the defense was there, and Kyle Z's asking, will the black shirt defense take a step forward or backward?
God, I mean, that's a heck of a good question. I mean, when you consider everything that Nebraska lost, I common sense tells me they might take a step backwards. But I don't know, the way Eric Shenander has really made that defense a strong unit, and players completely buy into his system and what he's telling them, that I wouldn't be surprised if they can maintain what they just did. Next man up. You've got a lot of guys that have been on the roster for a long time now that are waiting for their turn. So, I mean, that's a hard one to answer. And I mean, right now, without seeing any kind of practice yet or anything like that, I would have to just caution and say they might not be as good as they were last year at this point, especially when you consider losing guys like JoJo Doman and Cam Taylor-Britt. Guys that were in all-star games over the weekend and were really big-time performers, big-time playmakers on that defense. And Ben Stilley as well had been around for a long time. So, yeah, there's a lot of holes to fill. And right now, on paper, I like the offense more than I like the defense right now going into spring.
Tyler Reed, holy crap. I made it to a live show. Go Big Red. Give a like and a follow. Absolutely. Everybody should be subscribed, and please hit the like button as well.
Is Tyler Reed, is he related to Kyler Reed? That's what I want to know.
Tyler, let us know. Let us know. Tyler's got a question here. Do they Nebraska potentially move or use Logan Smothers kind of like the Saints with Taysom Hill?
That's another good question. I think right now, with what you see with Nebraska bringing in with Casey Thompson and Chubba Purdy, I mean, Logan Smothers might be the odd man out right now, and maybe you do want to think about moving him because he is that type of a guy, and just dare I have to bring up Luke McCaffrey, who actually was, I think, last week in the news because he just made the jump from quarterback to wide receiver, which I think every Nebraska fan wanted him to do here before he decided to jump in the transfer portal and leave. So I think Logan Smothers definitely has that same type of total package of a football player with athletic skills that, not only can he throw but run, and he can also catch. And I would love to see Nebraska do something like that with Logan Smothers, have some special packages like that.
Okay, next up on our 22 list of signees, 2022 class, Emmett Johnson, running back out of Minneapolis at 6 feet, 183.
Yeah, he'd been the one guy that Nebraska had committed for a while, and you were wondering if they were going to add anything else to that stable, but he's another guy that you turn his film on to, and I mean, it's like every other play's a touchdown. It seems like, and another guy fits that same mold, and going to add a lot more competition into that room again, with this infusion of talent into the running back room. And obviously, we've already talked about it quite a bit. It's a pretty loaded room right now, and you can't wait to see who the front runner is coming out of spring ball here.
All right, tight end strong, and gets stronger with the addition of Chase Androff out of Lakeville, Minnesota at 6'6", 230.
Yep, another Minnesota product, another big-bodied guy that does a real good job blocking from his high school, and has got some soft hands and can make some plays. And he's another guy that he's been committed for an awful long time. He was one of the first 2 or 3 commits in the class, and he's stuck with Nebraska, and hats off to Coach Sean Beckton, the tight ends coach, who in my opinion, might be one of the most underrated coaches in the country, and deserves a lot of accolades, and probably should be considered for some higher coaching positions than just tight ends coach for a Power 5 school. Great guy that recruits the heck out of the state of Georgia. But if you're around Coach Beckton, he knows what kind of guys that he likes, and he's been pretty successful. And some of the tight ends that he's got to come here in Nebraska, and how he's developed. I mean, he developed Austin Allen into an NFL draft pick. So I think Chase Androff's right there in that type of company, and can be a heck of a player down the road.
Got another tight end coming in. This one from California in Brody Tagaloa out of De La Salle, California.
Yeah, it's kind of strange. I mean, basically, we have him listed as the only defensive line commit in the class. I know that Rivals had him as a tight end, but he's going to start off on the defensive side of the ball. Maybe can turn into one of those pass rushing specialists down the road. But, right now Nebraska doesn't have any plans of him playing on the offensive side of the ball. He was a guy that Tony Tuioti had recruited, and now with the departure of Coach Tuioti to Oregon, you never know what's going to happen with Brody. Does he stick it out? Does he get into the transfer portal? I'm not sure. He's that one question mark. He's kind of that tweener right now that we really don't know what Nebraska's going to do with him right now.
All right, back to defense. Bassfield, Mississippi. Defense back in Malcolm Hartzog. Hartzog, 5'10", 165, 3-star.
Yeah, he was like the player of the year in the state of Mississippi. Had a heck of a year. Another kid that's going to, come in here and he's got a chip on his shoulder, has something to prove. And another guy that Travis Fisher made a connection with and really liked his style of play. And, like I said, we got Nebraska had seven new kids, new faces in that secondary. So, open competition. And I expect for him to be another guy right up there that is competing for playing time when we start the season.
All right. Getting down to the nitty gritty here with Gage Stenger, linebacker out of Omaha, Millard South. Yeah,
I can't wait to see what they do with Gage Stenger. We list him as an athlete. He can play several positions. I think of Gage Stenger as that replacement for JoJo Doman. He's got that kind of a game. I mean, he played quarterback all season as a senior, but as a sophomore and a junior, he was a wide receiver and a safety / linebacker, and he probably made every tackle out there for Millard South most of the time when he was out there, and they'd throw him in there when they needed him on defense last year's in his senior year. But he is, I mean, he's the epitome of an athlete, and I was actually lucky enough to see JoJo Doman play when he was a sophomore out in Colorado Springs. We were actually out there. Avery Johnson was the Husker commit corner, and we were out there to see Avery Johnson, and this junior named JoJo Doman was making all these plays, and I was like, "Who the hell is this kid?" And so he ended up in Nebraska too. But yeah, my point is that Gage Stenger is the same type of a football player as JoJo Doman, and you'll see JoJo get drafted here. I'm thinking probably third round here coming here in April.
Matthew Braz says everyone in Nebraska follows or fallows. We're all farmers. No follows.
I know when I hear that commercial on the radio that 11% of us are farmers and 100% of us eat. So there you go.
That's it right there. One more to go for the 22 class. It's Justin Evans Jenkins, guard center, 6'2", 270, New Jersey.
Yeah, Elizabethton, New Jersey, place I've actually been to. Good looking kid, nice film. Not the tallest guy, but I think he's going to be a guy that comes in and he's going to work probably as a guard or might take some center snaps. I'm not sure right now. We'll kind of see how things go here once they get everything hammered out here in spring ball and off into fall camp. But a young kid, talented kid that they add there into the room to go along with some of the other veterans that they added on the offensive line, because they added 2 in the transfer portal, headlined by Hunter Anthony, the Oklahoma State transfer, who's played a lot of football at a high level. And then Kevin Williams, they brought in the JUCO ranks, which is another local kid out of Omaha North that I've seen play a lot of football in my day when he was in high school. So, yeah, three guys that they added on the offensive line that just add depth to that offensive line because it's kind of a question mark right now. We'll see what Coach Raiola does with these guys here starting in the spring, and a lot of young guys on that offensive line, and we'll kind of see how that shakes out moving forward.
We've got about 100 on the line. We're here every Tuesday at 6 Central. We would love to triple that in the next few weeks. Grab 3 friends, bring them on in, talking Nebraska football. And for those of you who just college football fans, hey, we love having you as well. So come on in, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button. We got a super chat available for everyone as well. Also hitting up at Venmo, PayPal, and Cash App to help us grow the channel. Just want to let you know that if you're doing that for the Nebraska channel and for this show, just make note of that and let me know that. Again, Venmo, PayPal, and Cash App. All right, I think we'll save these transfers for next week if that's good for you.
Sure.
Matthew, great question. So this is what happened just a couple days ago.
Oh no, there we go again.
Got an Oregon helmet sent to me and a Texas A&M helmet sent to me. That was just yesterday. So we started our P.O. box and we got 2 helmets in, bam, first or second day right out of the gate. So Nebraska fans, if you would like to contribute and want to see your helmet there, let me find the
So they don't sell any of those other team helmets there in Connecticut, or what? You can't go to the store and buy this?
No, I'm out of the business of buying helmets. I don't buy any helmets. People can buy the helmets. They want to see their team helmets. They can go after it. So let's see where I can find it. Hang on. There we go. Mark Rogers, that's me. 15 South Main Street, number 1007, Torrington, Connecticut, 06790. Bam. Send me a helmet. There you go. In the meanwhile,
I wonder if I should send you. You want this one? It's not an official
Black
one.
Shirt's helmet.
Yeah.
Oh, you're good, Greg. We don't need you sending us helmets. Somebody will send a helmet. Somebody's going to send a helmet at some point. Exploring with Ben, thank you so much for that. Appreciate that. Yeah, it's always working. We're going to do an LSU segment right after this show. And I was looking for a question. I lost track of it. There was a good question about
a lot of good questions.
Shoot, I forget. Yeah, there's a ton of questions. We asked for them, so we got them. Oh, there it is. right up your alley, recruiting. Logan, with the hiring of Brian Applewhite and the return of Vince Winta. How do you pronounce his last name? Do you think Nebraska can make recruiting inroads into Texas again?
Yeah, I think so. I really do. With Brian Applewhite on board, he knows that state well. And I remember I commented last week that when he made his first trip back down to Texas after taking the Nebraska job during, that open recruiting period, he said every single school he went down to in the state of Texas welcomed him in there with GBRs and just welcome him with open arms. And yeah, they now have some connections back into that state of Texas, and I really do think that that's going to help things out, nabbing some more players out of that talent-rich state that we all know that produces, all kinds of talent year in and year out.
Well, on that note, here is the production of the current class, the 22 class by state. You tell me if this means anything to you, if this tells us anything. And it's just one recruiting class. So maybe put it together with the last few recruiting classes. 3 from Georgia, 3 from Louisiana, 3 from Nebraska, 2 from Minnesota, 2 from New Jersey, and then 1 each from California, Florida, Illinois, Mississippi, Texas.
It's pretty standard. I mean, Nebraska has to recruit nationwide. We all know that. And look at their, year in and year out, look at their recruiting classes. They're all spread out there. The one thing that jumps out to me about this season is the lack of recruits coming from that 500-mile radius that Nebraska is so proud to dominate, which we talk about, that 500-mile radius around Lincoln that includes Colorado, Kansas, Missouri, Iowa, Minnesota, in a nutshell. So that's what I expect for them to grow on moving forward here. But obviously, with a lot of the recruiting ties that the staff has, you see the state of Georgia pop out a lot. And we talked about Coach Beckton being that guy that recruits the state of Georgia. Travis Fisher also has all those ties in the South. Now you add Mickey Joseph to the staff that dominates the state of Louisiana. And now, like we just said, Coach Applewhite in the state of Texas. You have a complete reshuffling of the Nebraska recruiting staff or the coaching staff and the areas that they will recruit. And I know I brought this up last week that Mickey Joseph has already made headways in the Missouri area and St. Louis especially, which I think you'll start seeing Nebraska start to get a lot more recruits coming out of the state of Missouri. Not that they haven't. They've always done well in the state of Missouri, but and you also saw Coach Whipple down in Kansas recruiting the top quarterbacks out of the state of Kansas already for the upcoming classes. So I really do like the national recruiting angle that the staff now has, and I haven't even mentioned Coach Raiola, who obviously his family is all from Hawaii. And so you still have that connection there with the Polynesian players having a coach on the staff that's from Hawaii as well. So, Nebraska is truly, obviously it's in the middle of the country. It's landlocked. The population isn't there to produce the local talent that a lot of these other states have. But that forces you to go outside your borders to get most of your talent, and that's what they have to do.
John's asking, do you only want helmets, Mark? What else do you have in mind, John? I'll take other suggestions. You can always send cash. Cash is good. Well, send it Venmo, PayPal, or Cash App or whatever. But yeah, well, what do you have in mind? Jerseys? What are we looking for? Sure, I'm up to other suggestions. Yeah, we can put all sorts of stuff back here.
I'm thinking about a pair of shoulder pads that has the camera built in to them.
That's you could send that to Greg. Doug's looking. You should have never shown that helmet, Greg, because now Doug wants it.
Yeah, I think they're available anywhere online.
James
I have
says,
two of them. Send me your info. I'll send you one. I got two of them.
James says, would you be interested in bringing another channel on? I know a guy that has great content, very passionate Husker. Well, we've got our channel. So anybody who can create good quality content that knows what they're talking about, sure, send them my way. They can hit me up on Twitter, or they can send me something on MarkRogersTV at Gmail. There you go. We'll give it a look.
You know
All
what?
right.
I found out in my, I don't know, what am I, 53? My 53 years on this planet, there's a heck of a lot of passionate Husker fans out there.
I know that, and I'm not even close to it. So I don't pretend to know a 1% of what you've come in contact with, but I know that myself.
And the thing is, it's pretty hard to be an impartial member of the media sometimes.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, yeah, you get to know the guys and you want them to do well. Plus, if you grew up a Nebraska fan, plus you're now covering the team and you get to know the guys and you like them and you become kind of friendly with them. Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. And,
absolutely.
Sometimes you have to bite your tongue if you're in the press box during a game. It's most fans they don't know, but it's a complete no in the press box to say anything about a play, or you cannot root at all. You get kicked out if you root for somebody.
Yeah,
unless you're in the radio booth.
Absolutely. John, blankets, shirts, jerseys, paper stadium. Sure, bring it on. We'll figure out how to get it back here so everybody can see it.
Yeah, that's one thing that actually brings to mind is that I know we've mentioned in the past here, just in the last couple of weeks, that athletic director Trev Alberts is out there trying to make the fan experience that much better on game day. And one big hot topic that's been going on forever around here is beer sales in Memorial Stadium. And I think in the last week, they've taken leaps and bounds to make that come true, which I'm sure that everybody that plans on attending a Nebraska football game in the future will welcome with open arms.
All right, very good. I think we've done enough damage. Greg ran down the entire recruiting class for 2022. So if you're just joining us, you missed some of it. This video is going to post here in just a couple minutes. So give it some time, let it post, head on back, catch what you missed. Get on over to Husker Online Video. What do you guys have going on this week?
We've just kind of thrown up some old highlights of underclassmen right now, and any kind of basketball related stuff that kind of turns the crank. Nebraska baseball's preseason ranked in the top 25, so we've got baseball coverage going as well. Right now this week, we're just getting ready to get out. Sean Callahan, my boss, starts his whole rundown tour where he shows the recruiting class DVD. So that's what my main focus on right now is creating this DVD for Sean to start going out and showing to the public here starting on Thursday. And, moving forward, we have our in-state tour coming up here in the next couple of weeks where we'll have two 2 stops here, one in Lincoln, one in Omaha, where we'll have all the top in-state and surrounding area recruits will come to us, and we'll sit down with them and get to know them a little bit. So a lot going on here. Basically we're in recruiting mode for the 2023-2024 class right now, and spring ball starting in a couple weeks, so we'll have plenty of spring ball coverage starting here shortly.
So a couple of weeks ago, after the season, I released my 1 through 130 rankings. They're over on the main channel. So I ranked all the teams 1 through 130. Okay. That was based on just last season, of course. Last off season, I ranked all the programs. So that's not exactly the same thing, not the teams, but I ranked the programs, not all time, but where the programs stand right now, 1 through 130. And I'm going to do the same thing right now. Here in the next week. It's going to take me a little while to go through my little computations and knock it out 1 through 130. But since I was looking at last year's, writing down last year's results, and then I'm going to tweak them based on what happened this past season to a certain extent. Greg, where do you think I had Nebraska ranked as a program? Not all time, right now. This time last season, last off season.
This time last off season.
Yeah.
Probably higher than it would have been at the end of the season. I'm going to guess about 32.
49.
49, okay. I gave him too much credit.
Oh, well, I was just curious.
Yeah.
I was just curious. All right, folks.
That's
Appreciate y'all being here.
More accurate than my estimation there.
Appreciate y'all being here.
But you have to understand, though, too, being around here at this time of year, it's all optimistic at this point,
Of course. Nothing wrong with that. It's being a fan.
Yep.
Logan, would love to hear you talk about programs all time, though, Mark. Your knowledge is encyclopedic. Well, I appreciate that. We are going to do that. That's just going to take a lot of time because I want to get it right. I don't want to screw something up. So I got to come up with some kind of metric that's going to rank national championships and conference championships and winning percentage and all this stuff, NFL draft picks. And I got to put some kind of deal to it, and we'll get working on that. But I wanted to do that this off season, and the off season is going to get away from me before I know it, because like Greg mentions, we're coming up on spring practice, and we want to dive into all the positions and do a different position each week. So what do you think next week, Greg? What do you want to hit on? We'll get started.
Hey, let's start with the quarterbacks. I mean, I think
all right.
That's where it all starts and ends at, and especially with what Nebraska added here in the offseason to that quarterback room. I think that's where we got to start, definitely.
All right. Next week, we're talking quarterbacks. We're going to start our spring practice previews. We're going to go through all the positions. We'll start at quarterback. Steven says, damn work, I missed the show. Well, Steven.
You can always see it.
It's good to see you here. Thanks for being here. I'm glad that you care that much. Go back and watch the entire show. It'll post here in just a minute.
I just want to say, too, that, everybody here that watches you, Mark, knows that, I mean, you might be the epitome of a college football fan with your knowledge of every program in the country. I think, hands down, you are the voice of college football, even if anybody wants to dispute that or not. In my book, you are.
Well, that's very, very nice of you to say. And I know I'm going to address something that I address maybe a couple of times a year, and I'll take this opportunity because those are very nice words. Because I know that can be perceived to be an arrogant line to put out there. This is how that came. This was not me saying I'm the voice of college football. I'm going to put it out there. Let's understand one thing is that if you look up the voice of college football all time is Keith Jackson. Keith Jackson is the voice of college football.
That's why there's a booth named of his
at the Rose Bowl.
Yes. No, here in Lincoln.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Keith Jackson broadcast
at the Rose Bowl. Okay, at Nebraska Memorial Stadium. Very nice. So the distinction there is, number one, the Keith Jackson, that's the actual voice, his voice. When we talk about voice of college football here, we're talking about opinion. We're talking about, what you're talking about, the analysis, the opinion, the discussion. Keith Jackson, it was the actual pipes to call a game. So those are two different things, number one. Number two, it just so happened that this is 4 or 5 years ago that I just kept getting comments from people where they would just call me the voice of college football. I never said it. My channel was called Mark Rogers TV. That was the name of the channel. And they just would say, yeah, voice of college football. And one day I'm telling my friend this, and I said, remember these people, they'll throw this into the comments, well, we kind of consider you the voice of college football. My buddy's like, you got to run with that. And I'm like, well, yeah, if I want to build a brand, you're right. Let's do that. And the way I explain it, though, too, is not just that I'm the voice of college football, but, Greg's got a voice. Moonbot, you've got a voice. Alan, you got a voice. Everybody's got a voice, and we bring all of us together, and together we are the voice of college football.
And like I said, I don't think there's anybody out there that has as much enthusiasm as you do about every single college program out there. I mean, I can think of my days back on the national team at Rivals when I was out there working for other schools, not just Nebraska, and I felt proud that I could go cover Alabama commits and give them exclusive content, as well as Nebraska. But when you cover a team, you're involved with that team and not every team out there like you are. And yeah, hats off to you and your passion for college football. And if there's anybody out there that lives college football 24/7, it is Mark Rogers.
Well, I appreciate that, Greg. Thank you so much again. This show wouldn't exist without Greg. So Greg's here every time. He does the analysis. I just fill in the blanks, and he breaks down Nebraska football, and we have a great time. So we've done it 55 weeks now because of Greg. All right, man. Appreciate you being here. You have a great rest of your week. I'm hoping those 60-degree temperatures, I hope they stay there with you, but I want them to head this way too. That would be great.
Yeah, you guys need a break from all this snow and horrible weather, don't you?
Absolutely, we do. So, all right, Greg, have a good week. We'll see you.
You too.
Everybody, next Tuesday, 6 Central.